Thanks for staying with us. So we have Adebola Adefisoye, who's a child consultant who runs a child expert company that offers assessment, behavior modification, nutrition, school integration, amongst others, to individuals with neurodevelopmental disorders. She will be discussing neurodevelopmental disorders in children with special needs. Thank you for joining us on the show this morning.
Thank you.
All right, so we always like to talk about children, but children with special needs don't get enough attention. How do we identify these children that need special needs, and how do we begin to create some kind of environment to help them to learn better?
Okay, first we'll say that it's their parents that first notice these things, because it's mothers are very perspective. Yeah, they notice these things. They see their child, they like, there's something wrong with this child, and also they ask questions. But because we do not have enough awareness, we do not have enough knowledgeable people in that field. So sometimes they are misdiagnosed. They just get, most of them, they tell them to go to church. Go to church, go pray, the child will be delivered, or they take them to deliverance homes and all that. So that's basically it. But now, well, people are getting to know more, and then because now it seems as if it's on the rise, that we have more kids having one issue or the other. And also now people are coming to get more aware. Then parents are not so much in denial anymore. They are beginning to ask questions. Okay, what can I do to my child? How can I help my child? What do I need to do? Was there something I did wrong? Or is there... They just ask questions now. People are asking more questions. So it's better now than it was a couple of years ago.
So if I'm watching this for the first time, I'm thinking, so what are these neurodevelopmental disorders? And what are the signs?
Okay. Now, it's because it's wide. Neurodevelopmental disorders are a lot. There's autism, there's ADHD, there's cerebral palsy. Like I said, there's Down syndrome. These are things that affect the brain. Sometimes we say that it could be caused by a medical condition. Like cerebral palsy is medical, so you can see that. How would I explain it now? There are physical features. When you see them, you know that, okay, this person has CP. But for someone that has ADHD or autism, you can't see them. They're just like every child that you would see. But you just see that a bit, maybe like growing up, there's a bit of delay. Then you don't probably talk early, or behavioral. Maybe you get to a place where, you know, kids would normally play. They get to a place, but you see that he's like in this place that is like well lit up. He's uncomfortable. The lights affect him, or he's wearing something. He's scratching. You just see these signs, and you'll be wondering what exactly is wrong with this child. Or maybe you talk too much. He doesn't keep eye contact. He or she doesn't look at you. You give him food. He's not able to eat. You know, so there are signs. It's like the signs, like I say, yeah, there are signs. So you see the signs, and then you begin to ask questions.
So when do you start to worry? When a child has delayed developmental growth, so the stages.
Yeah, the stages,
When a child is supposed to sit, it's supposed to sit. When some children don't sit, some skip.
Yes,
some will not sit at all, they will just walk.
Yeah.
So what exactly, should you start worrying when a child is skipping? Should you start worrying when a child is just extremely restless? No. Actually, energetic, some that have this high level of sugar in them, and you don't hyperactive. God bless you. And you just. So what are the signs the parents should use? Because do you, as an expert in this, teach parents to love the children, no matter
irrespective,
what?
Yes,
irrespective.
Okay. Now, like they say, when the child is born, there are some signs. You know, when you look at a baby and then you smile at the baby and the baby smiles back, laughs, you coo at the child and the child responds back. But when you have a baby that doesn't do that, those are like red flags. We call them red flags. You begin to check. That doesn't mean that there's something wrong with that child. There's sometimes that some kids don't speak early. We have found out that it increases with the generation. What do I mean? If a father, maybe he didn't talk until when he was 1, there's a high possibility that the child will probably have delayed speech also. So that is one, But those are, like I said, they're red flags. It doesn't mean that child has this delay, but you just be careful. You begin to look out, okay, is there something? Maybe my child isn't speaking. I'm talking to my child, and my child is quick to, like, want to run away, or maybe he's playing. Typical child will play with toys, mommy and daddy, this is this and all that. But your child doesn't do that. You go to a place and the child is just like away. He doesn't want to play with anything. He plays with toys in a repeated way. Like you can imagine, okay, let's say this is my phone, and then everything must be arranged in a certain way. When you tilt it, the child throws tantrums in quotes, you know, so those are signs that you look out for to like, what, okay, there's something. Like I said, it doesn't categorically say this is what is wrong with the child, but there are red flags. There are some things that you just need to like begin to notice and like look out for.
So are teachers in Nigeria trained for these? Because I know it seems like not everybody's trained to have that kind of patience for these children who are special. They have special needs. How do we help teachers to help them learn?
Well, yes, there are trainings for these kind of things. There are trainings, but it's not a general thing because like you said, it takes a lot of patience, and then you have to be passionate about what you do because it's like the extreme ones that we see that maybe have to go to special schools. But in regular schools, there are kids there that will probably, in those days, we'll call them Olodo because they didn't learn early. They were always behind. It was because they didn't find the right way to teach these kids. There are some kids that were in class that just need, maybe like now I'm talking very fast. The kid might not understand. But because there's a generalized way of testing us all, that kid will probably be like, that kid doesn't know anything. But if I know that child and I take my time, I'm like, okay, this is, maybe give the child extra support. Maybe like after school, I sit down with the child, I explain better. They do better. So I think, like I always explain, everybody has a special need. It may just not be as pronounced as others. So we just need to know what it is. Our teachers train, well, like I said, the awareness is increasing, so we are getting better. But I've also come to realize that we do not have enough hands. We do not have enough hands. Like, okay, the state is trying because it's doing a lot with physical disabilities and all that. But for those that have neurodevelopmental, like autism, like I explained, autism is not a seen thing. You can't see it. So, yeah, so you take your child to school and the teacher doesn't understand. The teacher is shouting, the teacher is beating, or after your child gets tired, and really gets the child to decide, and okay, don't worry, sit down. They just come to class, you pay your school fees, and they're there, and then the child doesn't learn anything. And we know these days, they just keep pushing them, because every parent doesn't want their child to, like, repeat a class or do anything. So your parents are listening to you right now, thinking, what do I do? So I have a child who's autistic or who's a slow learner. They aren't doing what I've gone to the school have said they're doing their best. They are trying to put, and I'm getting frustrated. I don't know what to do. What would you tell that parent? One, I would ask the parents to read up, do research, find out what exactly is wrong with your child. There are actually places in Lagos that run tests and all that. I do that also. But one thing I always tell the child that nobody knows your child better than you. So what you should first do is write down these things that you have noticed. You must list them out so that when you're talking to a specialist, they can say, I noticed this. Maybe I have another son. My other son did this early, but this one isn't doing that. Okay, is there cause for concern? So those are like I said, you need to write down what exactly you've noticed. That way I can help, I can build up on that because like I said, I don't live with your child. It's what you say to me that I'll be able to explain to you, tell you, okay, this and this and this is what we should do.
So I was just going to ask you, because before the show, you were saying in the days like 20, 30 years ago, we would just beat the autism out of the child. Yes. So is it possible to beat autism out of a child? No, I don't mean beat it out. I mean, like, okay, let's assume now. You know when after you beat a child for so long, the child becomes conditioned. So he doesn't want to, even when he would exhibit them, but he would try not to. You see them, those are kids that you see that they've been subdued. Maybe that's the right word to use. They've been subdued. They've been beaten so much to submission. So they just don't do anything. And after a while, you keep hearing people tag those children. You hear them say, that child very, you know, those kind of weird. So that's it.
Okay, so for me, you know, what I find a lot curious are the ones that you say you cannot see anything physical. Yeah. So how do you separate a stubborn child from a child that needs help? Okay. So this child is just stubborn. Just talk to him or sit him down and explain to him and he'll grow out of the stubbornness and know it may be ADHD or something. Okay, now, let's even assume the child is stubborn. There's something, like they always say, behavior is learned. So whatever behavior we allow, it grows. It keeps increasing. But the behavior we work on, that we correct, it decreases. So even if a regular child is stubborn, there's something that is instigating that stubbornness. So we need to find out what that thing is. Is it that he's trying to communicate something and you're not understanding? Or you know how it is sometimes some parents have set ways of raising their child. And the child is saying no, as in trying to pass across a media and the parents are not listening. So that brings out aggression or stubbornness in them. Now, to bring it down to a child that has a need or has a special need or something, when the child there are signs that you'd see. Like I explained, for someone that has ADHD,
They are very hyperactive. If you see them, a lot of them walk on their toes. They don't walk like, they're like, you know, they can't sit down still. They're jumping up and down. That is a sign. So you can see that already. And like, this isn't stubbornness. Because even if you beat them and they sit down for 2 minutes, they're jumping up again. So you know that, okay, this isn't stubbornness. There's something about this child, you know. Then for a child that has autism, there are different signs. Because it's a spectrum, it's not one person might have this, another person might have this. One person might have light issues, sensitivity to light. Gets into a place that has too much light, he cringes, he's crying, he's jumping up, he's fidgety. Another person might be sound. Any sound that I and you might hear and not have any issues, the child will react to the child. Yeah, and then some is for clothes. The fabrics you use sometimes irritates them. So it's not fixed. It's like a lot.
Right. So we have to wrap up soon, but I want you to speak to parents who are going through this, because they need to be reassured that this can be fixed in Nigeria, or that there's hope for their children. Because sometimes just like I carry these children abroad, or I just go and hide them in the village somewhere and nobody sees, you know, you feel helpless. So listen to you this morning, maybe somebody can be encouraged that my child can actually get help. Can they actually learn at some point? Yes. If we get a lot of attention, I want you to tell a parent.
Okay, Rhea, for any parent that has a child with a learning disability or anything, there's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. It seems like it might be difficult. It's a journey. There's no rocket science. You don't get therapy today, or get a therapist today, and then tomorrow you want results. Sometimes it might be 3 months. Sometimes it might be 6. Sometimes it might be a year. But it's a journey. You see the progress. You see the change. So you keep at it. At their centers, yes, they might be expensive, but we also try to explain that you can work with your child at home. You can do all these things, all these learnings and all that. You can work at home. Like I tell a lot of my clients that I work with, if you can't afford the big schools, if you can't afford a regular school, you can work with your child at home. Teach your child colors. Your house has colors. Work with the child. The child has he needs to learn. Work with sand, because sand is a beautiful therapy for them. Music also is a beautiful way to work with them. So all these things, like I said, there's light at the end of the tunnel. So
you can read up and know how to help your child,
yes,
even if you can afford a therapist.
Yes, you can read up. So that even when the therapist is seemingly going wrong, you can be like, no, that's not how it's done. Why don't you, can we try this? You know, so like that.
Is there a cure for autism?
No.
Let me be to
they just manage, as in we manage it. It's like asking, is there a cure for high blood pressure? Is there, do you understand, man? It's like, yes, it's manageable. And that's why we keep saying early detection, early therapy, start quickly, start on time, so that this journey, you know how it is, the mind of a child is malleable when the child is still young, compared to when you're starting work with someone that is a teenager or is an adult and all that. But when the child is still 2, 3, 4, you can still work with the child. There are so many things you can do with the child that the child would be able to learn and function with his own capabilities.
Yeah. So I think what parents will be asking is...
What parents should do is be available.
Yes,
be impatient parents.
Yes, you can't be impatient.
Don't compare your child with...
And I think what mothers or parents will worry about is that, would my child grow up into an adult that can thrive and be independent?
Yes. Okay, now let me another example is like, in Nigeria here, we're beginning to do that. I think was it last year or something? There was an autistic boy, a guy that got married. He had autism. So they can live normal lives. We just need to condition them, help them early enough. So because these kids, as they grow up, they understand what their triggers are. They know what irritates them. So so maybe like a child that has sensitivity to light and is coming here will probably wear glasses, or would have told you before, I'm sensitive to light. So you're going to have to either dim your light or do something to help me. So because he knows that already, he would have told everybody around him. So that you can condition their environment to be them. What we keep asking is, help them be them. Help me be me. Help me be me. Help me be who I want to be. Help me to thrive irrespective of my difficulties or my disabilities.
Thank you very much, Ms. Adefisoye. I think that definitely hit the nail on the head. Thank you so much for sharing this with us. And I hope that families out there having children with neurodevelopmental disorders and see that it is possible for their children to live normal lives. That's all we can take on the show today. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.